Hey, welcome to the fourth episode of Shredlaner. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about what foods you should be eating in order to get your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. But before we do that, I want us to look at my progress so far. I started this cut on 4th of September 2022. I was weighing 53.75 kg and my waist was 32 inches with approximately 18 to 20 body fat percentage. 1 month later, of 4th of October 2022, I was weighing 53.40 with a waist of 29.5 inches, approximately 15 to 16 body fat percentage. You could be wondering, how come my weight has not changed that much? Well, I seem to be losing fat and gaining muscle at the same rate. That's why there's not much difference. That is another reason why your weight is not the best indicator of fat loss. The best indicator of fat loss or fat gain is your waist. If your waist is getting bigger, then you're getting fat. If your waist is getting smaller, then you're losing fat. That is the best indicator. When I started this cut, my goal was to get to 10% body fat in 10 weeks. Right now, I am on week 5. I do not know whether I'm going to achieve this goal or not. But the moment I reach week 10, I will stop cutting and start bulking. Because of course, I do not want to stay this small. Now, back to our episode. We are going to start with protein. We have to be honest with ourselves. Protein is very expensive, especially when you live in sub-Saharan Africa. Most of our foods are made up of carbs. We do not get enough protein at all. The best sources of protein are animal products. Things like meats and eggs. When I say meats, I mean all kind of meats. Those are beef, pork, chicken, fish, name it. Animal products have high quality of protein. And the reason for this is animal protein contains all amino acids. The biggest challenge with animal protein is it's very expensive. Someone like me at this moment, I only weigh 53 kg. That means I'm very small. But if I was to get my protein from eggs, for example, I would need 15 eggs every day. If I was to get my protein from lean meats, I would need around 400 grams of meat daily. That's half a kg. It's quite expensive, isn't it? So if your budget allows it, go with animal protein. It's the best there is. But we have a second option when it comes to protein, and this is plant protein. Unfortunately for plant protein, they do not contain all amino acids. Since I started training, I have been researching and looking for the best plant proteins. And lucky for us today, I found them. I found 3. These are legumes that contain as much protein as meat per unit. Number 1 is dolicos, also known as njahi. Number 2 is lentils, also known as kamande. And number 3 is mung beans, also known as dengu. These are the best sources of protein as far as plants go because they contain around 25% protein. So for every 100 grams of mung beans or dolicos or kamandes, you get 25 grams of protein. That is equivalent to meat. For every 100 grams of lean meat, you get around 25% of protein. So these legumes have as much protein as meat. The only challenge is it's not of very high quality, but it is protein. Another advantage of these 3 legumes is they are not only sources of protein, they are also sources of carbohydrates. So they contain 25% protein and 63% carbohydrates. They are a complete meal. You just need to add some fats and you're good to go. Let's go to carbs. What are the best sources of carbs? Well, it depends on your goal. If your goal is to lose fat, then the best sources of carbs for you will be tubers. These are things like arrowroots, potatoes, sweet potatoes, even vegetables will be good for you. All greens will be good for you. Kales, cabbages, spinach, watermelon, fruits. Those are the best sources of carbohydrates if you are cutting. But when you're bulking, the best sources will be things like ugali, rice, pasta, breads, those ones will be good for you when you're bulky. The reason is simple. When you're cutting, you'll be eating less calories. And that means you'll be feeling hungry all the time. But tubers, vegetables and fruits contain very few calories per volume. So you'll be eating a lot of foods with few calories. And that's why they're good for cutting. When you're bulking, you'll be needing more calories. And if you try to get your calories from tubers, vegetables or fruits, you'll be eating too much food. So it will be better to go with foods that contain more calories because their calories are few. Let us talk about fats. We have some good fats and some bad fats. There's some things called trans fats. Things like margarines are made from trans fats. Those are things I would advise you to ignore. They're not good for your hormones. Other fats that are not that good are polyunsaturated fatty acids. These are fats that are made from vegetables. Sunflower, vegetables, corn. They are not that bad, but they're not good for you. And those are the fats that everyone buys. They are quite cheap, but they're not good for you. The best fats you should be having contain monounsaturated fatty acids. These are things like avocado oil, coconut oil, virgin oil. Those ones are good for you because they contain monounsaturated fatty acids. The challenge with them is they are very, very expensive. But we have a third option. These ones are called saturated fatty acids. And these ones are usually in solid form at room temperature. And a good example I can give you are things like ghee and butter. They are more expensive than polyunsaturated fatty acids, but they are a bit cheaper compared to the monounsaturated fatty acids. So if you cannot afford the avocado oils and the virgin oils and the coconut oils, then just go for ghee or butter. That's it. The best sources for protein, carbohydrates and fats. In the next video, we're going to be talking about how to structure your diet for fat loss so that you can lose weight effortlessly. Click here to check it out.